Imagine a life where controversy may surround your name, but luxury never truly leaves your side. That is the strange reality of Prince Andrew. Even while public criticism and scandals followed him for years, one thing never seemed to slow down: the extraordinary lifestyle. A lifestyle where flying a helicopter just to attend lunch could feel normal. A life where repainting a £220,000 Bentley simply because you disliked the color was treated like a casual decision. Today, we're exploring the astonishing luxury that defined Prince Andrew's world. The homes, the vehicles, the jets, the personal collections, and the everyday habits that reveal just how privileged this life truly was. Because when you look at Prince Andrew's houses, you begin to understand the scale of the world he lived in. The first major home that truly belonged to Andrew was called Sunninghill Park. But this was not an old royal cottage passed down from generation to generation. It was something very different. Sunninghill Park was a brand new, purpose-built mansion constructed specifically for him. The estate featured 12 bedrooms and sat on an enormous 665 acres of countryside in Berkshire, right next to the famous Windsor Great Park. The location alone placed it among some of the most prestigious land in England. And the most extraordinary part of the story is how Andrew acquired it. The mansion was a wedding gift from Queen Elizabeth II in 1986 when Andrew married Sarah Ferguson. Think about that for a moment. Most people receive kitchen appliances or a small envelope of cash when they get married. Maybe a coffee machine, a set of plates, or a modest contribution toward a honeymoon. Prince Andrew received an entire mansion. The property was built between 1987 and 1990 according to Andrew's own specifications, and it was filled with amenities that rivaled luxury resorts. The estate included a private helicopter landing pad, allowing him to arrive and depart by air whenever he wished. There was a private cinema room for screenings, a dedicated games room with a pool table, and 2 swimming pools, one indoor for year-round use and one outdoor for the rare sunny English summer. The property also featured horse stables, 6 large reception rooms for entertaining guests, and 12 bathrooms spread throughout the mansion. But perhaps the most revealing feature was the staff housing. The estate included living quarters for around 20 household staff, the invisible workforce responsible for keeping the entire operation running smoothly. The mansion was so large and so extravagant that the British public eventually gave it a nickname. They called it South York. It was a playful jab referencing Andrew's title, the Duke of York, and the enormous scale of the property. Some critics even joked that the architecture resembled a giant supermarket more than a traditional English country house. But regardless of opinions about its design, the mansion was undeniably enormous. And it had cost Prince Andrew absolutely nothing. Years later, Andrew sold Sunninghill Park, and that is where the story becomes even more remarkable. After sitting on the market for several years with an asking price of $12 million, the estate was eventually purchased by Kazakh businessman Timur Kulibayev. The surprising part? He paid $15 million, which was $3 million above the asking price. That kind of premium immediately raised eyebrows. But in the end, Andrew walked away with the money from a home he had received completely free. And that windfall would fund something even more impressive. His next residence was Royal Lodge. If Sunninghill Park was the introduction, Royal Lodge was the grand masterpiece. Royal Lodge sits deep within Windsor Great Park, surrounded by historic parkland and centuries of royal tradition. Unlike the modern Sunninghill mansion, this property was a historic Georgian estate dating back to the 17th century. It featured around 30 rooms, including multiple grand drawing rooms designed for hosting royalty and world leaders. The estate also included 7 large bedrooms, an elegant conservatory filled with natural light, and even a private royal chapel located directly on the grounds. Outside the mansion were 6 separate staff cottages, a gardener's cottage, vast landscaped gardens, a swimming pool, tennis courts, and even a private golf driving range. Andrew secured this extraordinary estate in 2003 with a 75-year lease, paying a relatively small premium compared to its enormous value. But the renovations were expensive. Andrew spent around $7.5 million modernizing the property. The upgrades included repainting the entire building, installing new security systems, renovating the roof, and making extensive structural improvements. Yet despite the mansion's estimated value of around $30 million, the rent Andrew paid was essentially symbolic. In British property law, This is known as a peppercorn rent. At the same time, the property required around $3 million per year in security costs, much of which was funded indirectly by public resources. But Andrew's real estate ambitions didn't stop there. In 2014, he expanded his property portfolio internationally by purchasing a luxury ski chalet in Verbier, Switzerland. The property, known as Chalet Helora, was a 7-bedroom alpine retreat located in one of the most exclusive ski destinations in Europe. The chalet included an indoor swimming pool, a sauna, large entertaining spaces, and a stunning sun terrace with a private bar overlooking the Swiss Alps. Andrew purchased the property jointly with his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson for approximately $18 million. When you add everything together, the numbers become staggering. A gifted mansion on hundreds of acres, a historic royal estate worth tens of millions, and a luxury chalet in one of the world's most expensive ski resorts, all belonging to a man whose official income included a Royal Navy pension of around £20,000 per year. Clearly, this was no ordinary financial equation. But the luxury didn't stop at the homes. Because the way Prince Andrew traveled between those homes was just as extravagant. Andrew maintained a fleet of luxury vehicles worth close to $1 million. His collection included multiple Bentleys, including the Bentley Flying Spur, one of the most luxurious sedans in the world. Over the years, Andrew developed a reputation for extensive air travel. So much so that British tabloids gave him a nickname. They called him Air Miles Andy. Helicopters were often used like personal taxis. Short journeys that could have been driven in under an hour were frequently made by helicopter instead, costing thousands of pounds per trip. Reports revealed that he sometimes traveled aboard a Bombardier Global Express private jet, an aircraft valued at around $40 million. The interior included leather seating, separate dining and sleeping areas, a full galley for chef-prepared meals, and luxury bathrooms. But the story of Andrew's lifestyle doesn't end with homes and transportation. Andrew was known for wearing extremely valuable watches. Among them was a Patek Philippe, one of the most prestigious watch brands in the world. Some of these watches were worth over £150,000, representing the pinnacle of Swiss craftsmanship. He also owned multiple Rolex day-date watches, often referred to as the President's Watch, worn by world leaders and powerful figures. Cartier watches and even a gold Apple Watch valued at £12,000 were also seen on his wrist. Yet perhaps the most unusual detail of Andrew's personal life was something far less expensive: teddy bears. Reports suggested that Andrew owned a collection of more than 70 stuffed teddy bears. These bears were not simply placed on a shelf. Each morning, staff members carefully arranged them on his bed in precise positions. Some were even placed on small decorative chairs or miniature thrones. And if one bear was accidentally moved out of place during cleaning, staff were instructed to return it exactly to its original position. It was a routine that perfectly illustrated how carefully controlled and structured royal life could be. Beyond these personal collections, the walls of Royal Lodge were decorated with priceless artwork from the Royal Collection Trust. Paintings, antiques, and historical objects surrounded Andrew every day, items that museums around the world would compete to display. All of this was supported through a complex combination of public funding, royal family support, property deals, and inherited privilege. For decades, this was the reality of Prince Andrew's world. A life where mansions were wedding gifts, where helicopters replaced taxis, where luxury cars, private jets, priceless art, and carefully arranged teddy bears were simply part of daily life. It was a world shaped by centuries of royal tradition and extraordinary privilege. And whether people admire it or criticize it, one thing is undeniable: few lives in modern history have been surrounded by such extraordinary luxury. That is the remarkable story of Prince Andrew's lavish lifestyle. If you found the story fascinating, make sure to check out our other videos exploring the secret lives of the world's most powerful and wealthy figures. And we'll see you in the next video.